Craig and Tracy here, Caravans by the Campfire. Now, 12 months ago, we went up to Bruder.
That's correct. At this time?
It was April. ADX 21 they were launching. And it's a U-Butte caravan. Lots of deposits, lots of interest.
Yes.
However, they haven't produced anything for 12 months.
No, scaling up was probably an issue.
Yeah. So what do you know? Stepping in, Gabriella Montenezi.
Montenezi.
Right.
That's how you pronounce it.
She's the owner of Destinations Unknown. So they've purchased Bruder RV. No, it's Bruder RV now.
Or Bruder X. She purchased Bruder X. It's now Bruder RV.
Yeah. So, what do you know? I gave her a call and she come on and here's the interview. Okay, righto. We're on. Welcome, Gabby Montenezi. You're the CEO of that new company. What's that new company called? You might tell us all about it.
Bruder RV, Destination Unknown Group, and Bruder RV sits under the group, yes.
Right. Now, you've been around the industry for quite some time. New age caravans, that's a long time, isn't it? 10 years or so?
Yeah, 10 years, yep.
And what happened after that?
Took a bit of a break. I suppose I exited out around 2018-19. Obviously set up some other businesses and set up some investments, and I pressed forward in doing some work in PAF under my late father's name. So we do a whole lot of foundation work and charity work, social impact work there. And then, did some business coaching and got involved in other businesses in different industries. And then I was always sort of drawn back to the RV industry. It's pretty much what I know and what I love. And I'm pretty passionate about sort of what happens in my own backyard here. And I sort of got, a little bit itchy feet, I'll call it. I got drawn back into different meetings and conversations with associations and customers and thought, wow, there's an opportunity here.
I've spoken to a few people about yourself, and there's glowing reports everywhere. So that must be a good thing. This is other caravan industry people that they said if you want someone to get something happening, that you'd be that person.
Yes, yep.
So that's good to hear. Now, I'm sure, getting on to the Bruder subject, so why did you choose Bruder first as your first sort of foray back into the caravan business?
Yeah, so I think with that, it's how it sort of lined up, and it wasn't intentional per se. I looked at a few different businesses. Obviously, Zone RV was brought to my attention through some mutual people as well. So I looked at a couple, but it was really just some organic conversations that transpired with Bruder RV. So they were looking for some assistance through a supplier. They put me in touch with them, and we had a couple of Zooms, and then they flew in here and I flew in there. And just from those conversations, we sort of worked out pretty quickly that we could help each other out and build something pretty special. Quite clearly what the boys are fabulous at is, innovation and brand. And what I'm good at is running a business and scaling. So we could sort of complement each other and what our skill sets were and create something pretty special. But what was drawn to me about them was, one, them as individuals, and two, their innovation and their products are like by far the best I've seen in the industry. And I felt a bit like their product deserved to be showcased worldwide. And some of the innovation they're working on is impressive. And the guys just keep going at it and going at it and going at it. And they're always thinking outside the box. And I was just blown away by that.
We did a review. I don't know whether you saw part of it. When they bought that ADX 21 out, and we went up there, and it was quite an exciting time. Like their first foray into what I'd call the mainstream caravan market. And it was always going to be an issue about, to me anyway, just having been around the industry for a while, how well they could produce a brand new product to them, and then what were they going to do with scaling. And I think given that 12 months or more has passed and no one's actually got a van, there was obviously a scaling issue. I think that's a fair thing to say. You're a business person, you're going to be running this company. And where are things going to be made? What can you say to the customers out there that are waiting to hear, well, am I going to get my van? I'll put my deposit down. How long is it going to be? What types of processes are going on in the background there now?
Yeah, so I think just to your first point, you're correct. So what the Queensland facilities build is bespoke products in the EXP range, and they do that really well. The facilities are set up for that, and that's what they should continue to do, and that's what they are going to continue to do. We are moving two of their current factories into one bigger facility, so we can expand that product range up there, but it's all similar type work. And you're right, what the boys would have struggled with and did struggle with is how do you then build a traditional caravan per se that is a tad Bruder still, but in a facility that's set up for bespoke. So this is where we come in. So we're basically building the ADXs here in Melbourne. That's sort of what, I built over 20,000 caravans, right? So we clearly have the expertise to be able to do that here. So we're basically in prototype land at the minute. So we've done 2 or 3 prototypes of the 21 foot to make sure that what's been designed is correct. Obviously, Toby and Dan had already built one. And then our production pretty much starts. We've ordered the chassis for production to kick off. So we've got 10 chassis hitting the line. The first one arrives tomorrow, and then they start sort of coming into the line progressively. So production effectively starts this month. We've called every single customer that's got an order with Bruder. We've had a conversation about confirming the specifications. Through the phone calls, we rolled in some consumer feedback, which was great. Some of it I loved, to be fair. There were some things that I'd picked up on the family van that needed to change too. So we've rolled all that in. And now production starts, and we're hoping to get all those ADXs out within the next 6 to 7 months.
Well, that'll be pretty good.
So the facilities have started. Absolutely.
There's a little bit of, and I noticed on social media you've been jumping on there and responding to people's questions, which is very exciting to see. There's not a lot of owners that do that. The people that are sort of saying now, well, okay, are they being asked to have new contracts and all that kind of stuff? What's that all about? Can you explain that?
They've signed a contract with Bruder X, and Bruder X is an entity that is not trading in this new merger acquisition between us. So we've rebranded the business to be Bruder RV. For a whole host of reasons we've done that. So from a legal perspective, we're trying to secure the customers to say, we are now the new entity, including Dan and Toby, and we are now building your products. So we are honouring the specifications that were signed on the Bruder X contract. We are also honouring it, less the deposit that's been paid, because I'm never going to see that money. That's sort of sunk in the old business. So I'm essentially building 160 vans at the balance of whatever's left for EXP and ADX. And I'm doing that to honour what I stand for in this industry, which is customers. And that's the reason why we're asking them to transition across to contracts. Having said that, if a customer says, no, I want to keep my Bruder X contract, keep it. The risk sits with them, not me. I'm still going to build the product anyway, right? So it was more just a formality to get you in our systems, on our database. I'm building an app, so there's a lot of automation in warranty and spare parts and extended warranties. And so if you're then not in the system, then there's a whole, you're missing out on pretty much what we're here and what we're going to deliver for consumers ongoing. So there's a whole number of reasons why we're doing it, but it's pretty much just so we can say, you're in our system now, we have a full process, and now we can pretty much look after a customer from start to finish through a full cycle.
Yeah, well, that all sounds very good. What about, has there been any people caught up in that space of time between when you were considering that acquisition or the purchase or whatever, and it turning into reality? Like, were there people there caught up with, oh, maybe I don't want this anymore, or maybe I do, or they were a deposit plus regular payments, weren't they, type of company before? How did that sort of, is anyone caught up in all of that?
Yeah, so I mean, there's customers that have paid, especially for the EXPs, customers that have paid progress payments all through literally almost to the end and haven't got the EXP.
Right.
There are customers caught up in that, but I'm basically building those vans at my cost.
Okay, righto.
So if there's like an $80,000 payment to be made and the EXP's worth $350,000, I'm essentially building that entire van at a loss.
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick to what I said I was going to do, which is honour suppliers, honour employees, and honour the customers.
Yeah, that'd be good. Well, it's certainly good to hear that the vans are nearing starting production and you want to get them all through. Were there a lot of orders, if you don't mind me asking? Were there like...
Yeah, there is. There was about 160 orders, so that's between both products. It's the EXP line and the ADX. Right. So the EXP line is already started. So we already had supplies. Sort of once we did the announcement, we turned the supply chain back on. So those EXPs have already started being worked on, which is exciting. So those customers are very happy. And the ADX line, as I said, is pretty much in the process now. So yeah. Well,
it sounds like you've come along just at the right time. And probably the last thing to say to you is, when people are like, Bruder was a pretty bespoke type of brand, and unique type of people typically do those purchases. So how are they feeling? Similar to the recent Zone acquisition, right? From someone that's maybe made, you said like over 20,000 vans before, but they're not quite what they would be imagining a Bruder to be. But now you're making them, and I think it's an opportunity for you too to demonstrate that you can make a product of that kind of quality.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, look, there's been some questions from customers on, but we want a Bruder to still make our van. Bruder is still making, especially the bespoke stuff, that is still ran by the same production manager, the same staff, the same processes, the same people. And Dan and Toby aren't going anywhere. They're working in the group, but we've just expanded literally their remit. So their remit is now not just bespoke EXPs and ADX. Yeah. We have a whole host of other products we were working on before I decided to bring them into the group. So everything we do will have a little bit of a Bruder feel to it now, because what they're well and truly known for should be honoured, and they're almost the non-negotiables in the products we roll out to the industry.
Yeah.
And quite clearly they're the best at it. There's no doubt about it. So, why would we not maximise that? So the guys are really, really across all of the products in that way. I think that, as I'll say, our probably strength is caravans. So customers say, well, we want a Bruder to build it. Well, Bruder's never built a caravan per se. They've done bespoke vans a particular way with pods, and they know how to do that.
Yeah.
But they were tapping into market that typically that's not what they're known for.
That's a very good point
everyone
there.
has the best. Yeah, absolutely. And everyone has the best of both worlds. Customers will have the best of both worlds. We still have their innovation and their engineering in a product we know how to build. And the guys are coming down from the prototype builds anyway. So we're building a lot of those together and making changes as the prototypes are being built, which is important. And then there's obviously all the testing elements that those guys do exceptionally well.
Yeah. I've seen on the website that they had that little promo where they're teasing an ADX 18-foot perhaps. Is that something that you're pursuing, or what can people expect to see?
Yeah, correct. So we literally just had a meeting about that now. So Dan's in Melbourne today. So we're rolling out, we're not sure if it's an expansion of the ADX range, but there is probably another half a dozen layouts to come out. The 18-foot has been highly sought after.
Yeah. So
we probably have about 3 or 4 different variations of layouts that we're looking to produce and add to the range. So they're pretty much, we have a workshop next week just to pretty much tease out what our models and our product range looks like, because it's not just in the caravan space. There'll be products in the other markets across the RV space. So we're finalising that next week. But the first lot of products off the rank is obviously the ADX 21 to get it out, an expansion in those layouts, so not just the family and the couples, but there's a few others, and then the 18 is next up.
Last question. Do you think, what do you think's happening in the industry the next, say, 5 years? What I mean by that is there appears to be this collection of brands and manufacturing setups by individuals or groups of people, and moving forward under that sort of umbrella of we're a great manufacturer of caravans and we look after 5 or 6 different brands. Do you think that's a direction that we're going to see more of?
Yeah, I'm not really sure about the strategy behind it, to be honest. I mean, when I look at the market, and I actually had a meeting with some of the association CEOs over the last couple of weeks, but I had one yesterday. There's over 200 manufacturers in this market today. Like when I left, that's probably almost double. Right? Yeah. So there's a lot more players fighting for a market that is essentially, if you're excluding imports, is smaller than when I left. And it seems like it's a quick race to the bottom. So how people are then trying to obtain market share is just basically buying all these brands. But essentially the product offering is the same.
Yeah.
What I've come in with a different lens on is, what did we do well the first time? Well, we did quality product, backed our word, delivered on time, and we had exceptional customer service. And I wasn't a faceless manufacturer. I was a face-off. I'd stand before tribe events. I'd go to caravan parks. Tell me what you like about the product, tell me what you don't. So I've come back to pretty much do that and go, now I've partnered with great people who are very innovative, and we're going to offer exceptional product, and we're going to couple with that the things that were around 10 years ago that aren't around now. Good customer service, good warranty, backing your product. And while I was out of the industry in the last 12 months, I was inundated with customers messaging and tagging me in, class action and warranty issues, and can you get back in, and we want to trade, and can you build again? And I was astounded by how many customers would have a 2017 New Age and wanted to trade, but didn't want to buy any of the new products.
Right.
It's amazing, right? So I think for us, it's just doing the basics and doing them well. But I also think that where the opportunity has been missed for the industry is, what are the products that you can offer the market to entice new people to come to our industry? And where are the areas we should be talking to consumers that we're not talking to them now?
Yeah.
So they come to the industry. Whereas what everyone's doing is playing the same way, offering the same products, talking to customers in the same way we've always spoken to them. So it shows, and there's the same model, 20 manufacturers building it with a variance of 40 or 50,000 in price.
Yeah.
So, and I just went to the last show as a consumer and went, if I was a consumer, how would I pick a product? And I had no idea.
It's really coming down to, who's behind these organisations, who's building me my van, and are they going to be here in 12 months? And am I going to get a good warranty, and customer service is good as well?
Absolutely.
Well, on that Bruder one, what's the warranty situation there now? I'm not right across warranty for Bruder. What would it be?
We'd honour it. Yeah, we'll honour it. I mean, it's the same. It's the two who we are. Like, I'm not going to go pick and choose the bits of Bruder we take on and we don't. We're taking all the customers on, good, bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
And say with all aspects of the business that ensure that we keep our reputation and credibility where I left it, essentially.
So if someone wants to buy a Bruder now, what do they do? Just jump on the website and say, I'd like one?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, jump on the website. There's obviously our contact details, our phone numbers on there, so we have someone answering a phone.
Yep.
And we have a whole sales team here, so there's a whole lot of work on the go at the minute. We're activating.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That is very nice to chat with you, and I know how busy you are. So that's good.
Thank you.
Well, that was a very interesting discussion. Mm-hmm. And we learned quite a fair bit there. So if you're an owner of a Bruder or you've made a deposit, I'm sure things are going to be okay.
Okay.
They're just producing them en masse. So we have an invite to go down there to the factory. So we might do that, I think, down in Melbourne, and we'll see how they're actually making these things. And Gabrielle did make a very good point. No one's ever made these before.
Yes.
So if you're worried about who makes them and who doesn't make them, well, Bruder actually never made one.
No, they only made the prototype and they never made a production model. So
let's see them coming out.
She's in charge.
She said all orders will be filled within 6 or 7 months.
That's good.
So that's a good thing. Now, something else coming up. We went back to the Zone factory. Oh. Jamie, the owner, he promised that we could go in there. Every time I'd been there before, I couldn't get past the glass windows. The viewing area upstairs. Now, what sort of help is that to me and you as a viewer? Mm-hmm. So we went back there. We spent 2 days.
Yes.
So that was a very interesting experience. So like and subscribe. Just hit that notification bell and you'll find out when that video is coming out. It won't be very long. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Oh, yeah, it is.
That was great.
That is the end.